Welcome to the Fierce Female Force Summit, where today we will share with you more strategies, tips and tricks on how to organize your life and your business of freedom and abundance. My name is Joyce from Lely. I'm your host, and today our guest speaker is Guildner. Kemi is a coach. She is a very special coach. She is a woods walker, a sky gazer. She is a horse lover. Come on, tell me about it. Kemi, welcome to the summit and tell me a little bit more about what it is you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I am a life and leadership empowerment coach, and I help wildly successful women discover what they want to step into in their next chapter in their life. So many of the women that I work with are in the corporate world, and they are wanting to. They have this call for something more in their life, but they are not sure what that is. And I help them find that, and I help them step into it. And I do that through my coaching programs. And as you mentioned, I am also an equine guided coach, so I lead retreats that have horses as the teachers, as the guides. And getting out in nature really helps us tap back into that deep feminine side of who we are. That wisdom of that we knew as young girls, that wisdom that we.
Because you have a history in corporate as well, haven't you?
I do. I was in the corporate world for 20 plus years, and it was a great opportunity. I got to travel around the world. I got to do a lot of wonderful things in that corporate space. But when I reconnected back to who I am.
Deep inside,
that versus the persona that I put out there in my corporate space, right? That persona of who I thought I should be versus who I am at my very core. That's where it started to shift, and my whole life changed when I found out that I wasn't supposed to be in that corporate world, but I was actually supposed to be doing other things in my life.
Because in this summit, we're talking with all the speakers, we're talking about this disconnect that a lot of women find if they are either in a business for themselves or in a big job, that they sort of shift a little bit away from their femininity, that they feel they have to put on this mask or this other persona, as you said, to be worthwhile somehow in that position. So what made you suddenly decide to leave that corporate area?
Well, I left the corporate area, my corporate job when I got laid off. So that was, I always say my first blessing was I got laid off. And my second blessing was I got laid off in 2008, where there weren't any other VP of marketing jobs for me to be found at that time. So there was, those are my two blessings that took me down this pathway. And I actually took time.
Yeah.
I took about 18 months where I was not, I wasn't working. I was reconnecting back to who I am. I was tapping back into my strengths. I was working, which is I was really trying to figure out who am I. I was a lot of time in nature. And I through that time period, I realized that, I was the person that I had turned into, that I evolved into in the corporate world, was not aligned to a lot of my own personal values. And I had to do some big, deep work that took me back into being the person that I am, and letting me come back into a space of sharing my gifts that are true to me, that are truly the essence of me.
So did the horses come in at that stage when you were taking your time? And
yes.
Was it? Yeah?
Yes. Oh, yes. And I've always had horses. So that was always a part of my life. But there was time and space there that I discovered that being with the horses in a different way versus getting on them and riding them and training them, which had been my traditional path with horses. But actually stepping back and letting them be my teachers, it was actually a horse experience that made me realize that, no, I wasn't supposed to go back to the corporate world. I was actually supposed to go in a whole new direction. So it was really a beautiful gift that I got from the horses to help me see that.
So you actually have coaching programs where you use them as tools almost to work through things?
Well, and I wouldn't actually say,
or how that works for the listeners.
Yeah,
I have no idea,
sure.
or me even, how to see that.
Yeah, and what I would say, I wouldn't use the word use, because I don't want to.
No, you work together.
Use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Versus their knowledge, not their knowledge, their wisdom, their way of being.
Yeah.
When we slow down to the pace of a horse and come into that space, it can take us into a whole new realm. It's like getting out in nature. We can start, we feel differently. We tune off the noise that's going around us. And when we do that, when we do that with the horses, there's just this whole new sense of wisdom that can rise up within us. Mm-hmm. And we can start to see things in different ways. So it's really a very deep spiritual experience.
Yeah, because I used to do horse riding when I was a child, and you're right. The horses feel the rider or the person that they work with. That's true.
Right.
So right. I can imagine, but I've never actually seen or done anything like that. So it sounds.
Well, we'll have to get you out to Colorado.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Yes. And so, when you reached out to me, Joyce, I was so excited because the topic, this female, the fierce female force coming up, that to me, that spoke to me in such a big way. And I had been getting all kinds of signs that a lot of my work in this coming year is supposed to be about what's happening with the feminine, tapping into the feminine wisdom. Mm-hmm. And so it was just really the synchronicity of your email to me was like, okay, yes, I knew I wanted to be part of this instantly. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the reason this is such a big topic for me right now is because I think our world is so needing the feminine energy, the yin energy to rise up. Mm-hmm. I think it's time for this energy to really come forth into the world. We've been a very masculine driven, and we all have masculine and feminine qualities within us. Yes. And that, but I mean, I know personally, I've lived much more so in the masculine side. That's been my traditional pathway coming out of the corporate world, and even in just being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of driving that you have to do to keep your business going. Yeah, but you also, but that yin side of being able to come back at home to who we are and coming from that space versus the driving space is really powerful. And I think our world is really, really ready for this right now. I think the timing is really relevant. So I think the topic of this summit that you've put together is just so spot on. And so thank you for doing that.
Let's hope we can help a lot of women with our talks and with our interviews and with our, tips that we can give them. Right. Because I'm an artist. I teach art and art healing, art therapies, and I see a lot of women that feel unbalanced or a little disconnect or a bit stuck. And so I hope that with this summit, we can help them move on and move ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And I think when we make space to tune into who we are, that core of who we are, that nature that we already, if we just listen to who we are versus, but project who we are. If we listen what wants to come forth from us, I think there's a lot of power in that. And I think helping women connect back into that deep place of who we are helps us grow and evolve in a more yin, feminine driven way.
Which can still be strong and fierce.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, it can be even more fierce because it's authentically us
Yeah.
versus
So,
projected, right?
So you personally, you said you were in your masculine side a lot.
Totally.
So what did you do yourself to find that connection back to your femininity, or do you have regular daily habits that you do, like maybe except apart from your horses and nature?
Yes.
Do you do
Yes.
meditation or some
Yes.
things like that?
Yes, and so definitely, I mean, I think, as you mentioned, the horses are a huge part of that. The horses and nature puts me into a different way of feeling, of being. But I think meditation is certainly a big piece. I meditate regularly, and that's something new for me. I mean, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd meditate on a regular basis, I'm like, my mind doesn't have time for that. I don't know how to slow down like that. So it's taken some, space and time to be able to do that. I've always been a journaler, so writing is something that certainly helps me let that inner voice come forth. Several years ago, I wrote a deck of inspiration cards, and I think that was some of my really first deep writing, where I would take the image that I was going to be writing to, and I would just let whatever's supposed to come up for me. And so it was very much and I can go back and look at those cards and go, gosh, I wrote that. So where does that come from? It comes from this deeper place within us.
Yeah. And you've just recently also wrote a book.
I have just recently wrote a book.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that a little bit more.
Sure. My book is called Fire Dancer, Your Spiral Journey to a Life of Passion and Purpose. And so it's all about lighting up the passion and purpose in what you do in your life and stepping into your purpose. Because I'm a big believer, when you find what your purpose is and you follow that, it's such a gift. I mean, it's a beautiful gift to be able to do the work that you love, that you're here on this earth meant to do. And so that's what the book is about. Nature is a big part of it. That whole piece of, opening up our world into whole new way and finding the courage to step into it, because it takes a lot of courage to find new pathways.
So why did you choose Fire Dancer as the title? Like fire?
Yes, and it was funny because I went round and round trying to figure out what the title of that book was. One of the last things that I did. The book was well written and just about done before I named it. But to me, Fire Dancer evokes a feeling of strong energy that comes from within. I believe there's a light in each one of us that is meant to be shining out into the world. And so there's the fire, there's the light, and the movement. I think it takes movement in our body. We have to be moving to let things flow through us, to help us. And if things start to feel stuck, movement can help us release that and move through it. I think that it's an energy. I think Fire Dancer stands for this energy, this light that's within us, and shining that out into the world and moving into it.
So, and your company, your business name, Syzygy.
Yes, Syzygy.
Tell us about the meaning behind that, because there's a meaning in there.
Yes, there is. And I'll spell it for everyone. So it's SYZYGY. And if you look that word up in the dictionary, it means when there's three celestial bodies in alignment. So like an eclipse would be a syzygy. And so the word means alignment and balance. And so what I bring to people's lives is alignment and balance. And so it's a word that has resonated with me for a long, long time. And it's kind of cool and it's kind of fun to play with. So that's the name of my company.
Yeah, no, it is just a very interesting name. So I looked it up and I was wondering, and then I asked you about it, how even to pronounce it properly.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Right.
So people, do you work usually with women, or do you work with both men and women in your programs?
You know, I do have men in my programs, and but probably 90% of my clients are women.
Mm-hmm.
I lead a series of events called Extraordinary Women Connect, and it's about connecting great women together with great women. So I love to create community.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important that women come together in community, especially right now as this rising yin force is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Women together are stronger. And so I get really passionate about bringing women together in community, in connection, to help support each other move through their journeys. I think it's an important thing for us to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm. So do you mostly work with in real life, or do you also help women or help people with coaching programs online?
I do online as well. So I've got clients all around the world,
Mm-hmm.
and which I love. I love working with different cultures and different, that kind of experiences. And so that's always been something that I've enjoyed.
But obviously you cannot really have a virtual horse.
No.
So how do your online, when people reach out to you online from different parts, not that close to you, and cannot really visit you and visit the horses, how does that work?
The horse work that I do is on retreats.
Yes.
So people come to Colorado for retreats.
Mm-hmm.
But my regular coaching programs are on the phone. So we are working together, and I'll send people out in nature. I'll say, today's a day you really need to go out in nature and and experience it and see what comes up for you, what comes up on that walk, or head out on a walk with a question for yourself that you want to just be open to receiving an answer. Mm-hmm. So I bring a lot of that into my virtual sessions.
Yes.
But, obviously it's not the same as being here in person with the horses, but that's why I do retreats. So people come into town specifically for the retreats, and then they go, and then we continue our work throughout the year.
And so how often do you do those kind of retreats?
Do them in the summertime in Colorado, because I'm not a big fan of doing them in the snow. I like warm weather.
Yeah. So once a year you do a retreat?
Oh, I do several in the summertime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds really, really wonderful. It brings memories from when I was a child. We used to have horse camps. We called them in the summer holidays. We would go out for a week and just be with the horses and ride the horses in the forests. There weren't that many in Holland. Holland is quite populated. So there's but that was lovely. Yeah, so I can only imagine how your retreats must be.
Yes.
Photos that I've seen so far, they look so amazing.
Oh, thank you. And I think they are really amazing retreats. I mean, it's people can go, they're going through deep work in our coaching programs, but when they get into very, intensive focused time on a retreat setting, you can even go deeper, right? Mm-hmm. You're going deeper into what your heart wants you to know, what your body wants you to know, what your role is in this world. So you can really get clear about what legacy you want to leave and how you really want to matter in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I read somewhere you coach to live out loud.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Tell me about that. So,
yeah, and for me, I really like that phrase. To me, it means, I think so many women will hide. They'll live smaller because they don't want to be that bright, shining light. They don't want to be the center of attention. And so living out loud means really owning who you are and then stepping into it and unabashedly. It's being all of you there for the world to see. And when you do that, you're living out loud, and your the amount that you can make a difference, how you make a difference in the world, the legacy you leave changes, because it becomes, it's your light shining brightly as it can, versus a dimmed down. I might share with a few people what I want to do versus sharing with the world. Yeah. So it's different, right?
Mm. And yeah, the listeners and the viewers will realize that, because we are talking with speakers from all over the world. I mean, I'm in New Zealand, you're in Colorado, and I've had speakers from different places in the world, and I'm sure that the audience is also scattered around.
Yes,
it's good to reach out to more people all around the world.
Exactly, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah, we can help so many more people, right? Yeah,
and then that is the ripple effect of how we matter. It's like how the people that you touch, and the people I touch, and that ripple effect it just grows and it expands, and it makes our world a better place, and that excites me.
So I read a saying by the Dalai Lama. I don't know if you've heard that one, and he says, "The world will be saved by the Western woman."
Yes,
I'm not really asking you to explain what he means, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that saying.
Well, I think the world will be saved by women, put it that way. Yeah. I think that I think our world has lived in a very masculine-driven society for a long, long time. We've had wars. We've had, it's time for that wisdom of that intuitive, softer, gentler, caring side of women to rise up. And, it's really interesting. I was at a conference a couple months ago, and I saw there was 3 board of director women. So they were sitting on public company board, and they were being interviewed about their career, about their experiences. And they had great stories. And they'd been through all kinds of things in their life that had taken them to this high level in this company. And I was sitting in the audience, and I was noticing, and it was probably noticing in judgment, which I don't like to even, say, but I certainly was sitting there. I was like, their lips are kind of tight, and their energy's kind of close. And I started to catch myself in this judgment. And I thought, I just noticing how they were showing up. And then I thought, but wait a minute, these women have gone through hell and high water to get to where they're at. They have they've been the trailblazers that have been, really breaking ceilings for women. And so we really need to be thankful for these women for what they have done. But at the flip side, I think they've trailblazed and made this space for this whole new realm of women leadership to come forward, a softer side, a gentler side, a more open side that can change cultures. It can change the way we show up in governments. It can change the way we show up, in our relationships. So I think the women that we as women have been taught to dim that light of who we are as a woman, and I feel like it's time for that really to shine out.
Yeah, so those women obviously put on a little mask to function in their environments. Yes, right. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So Kemi,
so I have a lot of respect for that.
Sorry,
I said I have a lot of respect for what they've been through to break those trails for others to come up behind them, but maybe perhaps because the world wasn't ready for that softer, gentler side of women to rise up in force. But I think the world is becoming more and more ready for it.
Yes.
Now, and it is ready now. It's not more and more ready. It's ready now.
This is gonna be it.
Yes.
So tell us about the gift that you have for our listeners, for our viewers.
Okay. I have a quiz. It's a free quiz that you get to take, and it's called Your Next Bold Move. So this is all about figuring out where you are and what do you want to be, that next bold move that you're putting, and what's keeping you from making that leap. Mm-hmm. So what I've found in my work with my clients is that there's a couple of things that can keep people from making that leap, that next bold move. And if you can get clear about what's keeping you stuck, then you can move through that. So some of the things that can keep you stuck is you're not sure where you want to go. So it's a clarity issue. You're not sure what you want to do. So finding clarity around what that next bold move looks like can really help you move forward. A second one is it's about fear can keep you stuck, right? So fear can keep you like, oh gosh, I don't know. I worry about what can happen if I make that big leap. Mm-hmm. And so the quiz, after you've taken it, if that's what's keeping you stuck, it will give you ways that you can move through that. The third one is planning. So we know what we want to do. We're ready to go for it, but I really don't know how to make it happen. And so that's the third one. And then the fourth one is you are an emerging expert. You know exactly what you want to do. You know how you want to get there. It's just for you to start taking bigger leaps. It's for you to start really jumping out on that edge of uncomfort. There's like, oh, this is a little bit scary in this spot, but helping you move past that so that you really can shine your light brightly out into the world. So that quiz will tell you where you are in that cycle. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that's wherever you are is where you always are, because it is a cycle. You cycle through all of those. You cycle through clarity and fear and planning and emerging expert on a regular, over the course of the years. You're going to go through that many times. Mm-hmm. So knowing how to move through those different change places is what this quiz helps you do.
So there will be a golden button beneath this video that the audience can just use. They can click on it and be taken straight to your website, and then they can take the quiz, and there will be an answer at the end once they've taken the quiz, I'm sure. Yes. And also, of course, once you're there, audience, then you can check out more of what Kemi does. And also there are links to her book and her courses, and so it's been so nice having you on the summit, Kemi. It's been nice talking to you and hearing from your side with your kind of work. It sounds very down to earth and very grounded to nature. It's lovely.
Oh, thank you. I feel very fortunate to get to do what I do, and thank you so much for having me on this and bringing me into what I know will be an amazing series. And I can't wait to see some of the talks myself. So,
yeah, there will be plenty for you to enjoy as well.
Yes.
So thank you to all the listeners and the viewers for tuning in again. And check your email inbox tomorrow for more interviews in the Fierce Female Force Summit series. I'm your host, Joyce from Lely, and this was our talk with Kemi Guildner.
Thanks, Joyce. Bye.
Bye.